Hey guys, my name is Flux. I'm a custom jewelry designer that specializes in engagement. Today we're going to be covering two-tone golds because for some reason I've been seeing a little surgence in requests for adding different accents of gold throughout a piece or really integrating two-tone golds. So I want to kind of touch base on some of the things that we can do because it's pretty surprising how pretty it can be having little accents of different colors throughout a jewel. So yeah, let's jump into it. Of course, if you can smash that like button, hit subscribe, it helps more than you think. So the very first thing is that I think a lot of the times it's not a very popular request. I don't think it ever really will come back into like the mainstream trends per se, but you know, we specialize in custom and we're not necessarily here to do trends. We're here to make you an engagement ring that you absolutely love. And so if that's something that you do want, we're going to go over the things that can be done. We usually see it mostly for men's engagement rings. Wedding bands will do, you know, we see a lot of like yellow gold centers with white golds on the sides or vice versa. That's very, very common. For women's wedding bands, I think the place that you see it the most is generally in the prongs. But I don't want to start with the prongs. We're going to start with something a little bit funner. We can have two colors of gold without having to be overwhelming. It can just be done in simple little delicate details like we have here. So here we have a base engagement ring where the band and the whole ring basically is in white gold, and we only added a slight accent of yellow gold throughout the twist. So this is a really nice example where it's not all over the place, it's not getting messy, it's just a very simple add-on that we did that really helps, I think, accentuate the twist of the band, which came out really nice. I really love how nice this ring came out. You know, when we're mixing golds, which we're going to go in more depth in a minute, but you can mix, you know, white gold with yellow, white gold with rose. We don't see too much yellow and rose together because it starts to get a little bit muddy. Personally, it's not a color combo that I really like, but like I said earlier, it's really your personal choice. So if that's something that you do want to do, it is possible. Here's another example of one that we just did. So the base of the ring is actually in 18 karat gold. The prongs are in white gold, and the whole design of the ring was based around kind of like foliage. They wanted to have little leaves here and there encrusted with diamonds, and so we created a prong that was in white gold. We soldered it to the yellow gold shank and we did the leaves in yellow gold. So it kind of ties in all together. So that is something that you can do. It really, you can really get a good glimpse at like just adding small accents. Like if you want to have like florals on your ring, for example, little flowers or little details that you want to really make pop, then those are things that you can do. Like if you had a ring in white gold and you want to add little flowers in rose gold, you know, that is something that we can do. We can get quite small. I think the one thing that you need to remember is that the more detailed and the more parts that we need to assemble, it will cause for more labor fees and it will be more expensive. So that is something that you do need to keep in mind. So next we have the prongs. So this is something that I think is a little bit more popular, is having a different color prong than the actual band itself. There are different reasons for doing this. When you, for example, when you have, let's say, a yellow stone, like a yellow diamond or a pink diamond, you can actually use colored prongs to help accentuate the stone. So if your yellow diamond is a little bit light, having yellow prongs can actually help saturate the center stone and make it look nicer, basically. It can also be the opposite of that. So let's say you have a yellow gold band, you could have white gold prongs to help keep your, let's say, your white center stone white. Because of course, if you have yellow prongs on a diamond, it is going to kind of absorb that yellow and it might appear more yellow. This is something that I would recommend if you have stones like, for example, white sapphire. We get a lot of requests for white sapphire engagement rings because it's just a very good natural alternative to a diamond. And sometimes they can be slightly more yellow than diamond. Having a white set of prongs can really help keep it nice and crisp. So now that we touched a little bit on the aesthetics, let's touch on like the actual questions of what can you mix, what can't you mix, like what's not a good idea. Generally for two-toned gold colors, I generally recommend 14 and over because 10 and 14 karat white gold to go a little bit more yellow quicker, and so you're not going to have such a harsh difference between the yellow and the white versus if you go 18 karat. The 18 karat white is a lot nicer and a lot more like that striking white that you want in comparison to a very rich yellow in 18 karat. So it's going to have a really nice contrast between the two. Generally speaking, you need to bring your engagement ring every 5 years to have it re-rhodium and like general touch-ups. It's actually really fun because when we rhodium plate, normally for an engagement ring that was entirely in white gold, we would just dip the metal, but because it's going to be done, like because there's like two tones, we can't just dip it. We actually have to do it by pen and go in and touch it up really nicely. So that's like a little fun behind the scenes. You can mix metals like white gold and platinum. If you are worried about, you know, your white gold changing over time and you really want to keep it a nice crisp white, platinum will not change color. We don't actually rhodium plate platinum. When you buy it, it's going to look the same in 10 years, right? You might need to give it a little polish here and there, but it's going to be the same color compared to white gold, which will muddy over time. And so if you want to keep that nice contrast, platinum is a good option. Of course, platinum is a very heavy metal and it's also a little bit more expensive, so it's going to depend on your budget, but these are things that you can always ask us. We work in 3D design, so we can calculate the cost of the metals before we even make it. So if it's something that you do want to get an estimate for, we can very easily do that for you. There are also metals like silver. I generally wouldn't recommend mixing silver with gold. Not because it can't be done, it can. It's more that silver is very soft. It tends to scratch very easily. You know, within a few days of wearing a new band, it's going to become very blurry, almost kind of like a white with scratches, versus gold tends to keep up a little bit nicer and it ages nicer over time. So I feel like the two just don't pair very well. If you want, yeah, I would just really recommend sticking with white gold and yellow gold and not mixing it with silver. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'd love to know if you guys like two-tone colored gold, if you guys would wear it, or if you think it's just like a passing trend. And yeah, thanks for watching. If you want to have more short form content, we also have an Instagram channel where we find Flux, where we do a lot of like kind of like abbreviated versions of our YouTube. So make sure you check that out.